All right, so Vicky Cool here is with Dorothy. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I got very little sleep last night. We did the iHeartRadio Awards. I got to go attend that and do the carpet and the press, and it was very cool. And then I drove back to San Diego, and so I was all wired. So I think I went to bed at 6 in the morning.
Oh yeah, nothing wrong with a little rock star partying for sure, right?
Well, I was completely sober, but I think I was just so wired that I couldn't sleep. It was pretty exciting. It was a really interesting new experience for me, and I'm grateful that I got to do that. So,
So was it a good event? A lot of people there.
you know what? Yeah, and you know what I noticed is a lot of heavy guitar action in the performances, even the pop performances. But my favorite was Giovanni and the Hired Guns. They crushed it, and Lenny Kravitz. I just had like chills the whole time he was doing a medley of all his greatest hits, and you could really feel the love and the power. So it was super cool.
That's awesome, man. I'm glad it was a good time. It's so cool that these things are going back on too. I mean, I think a couple years ago it was all you didn't know what the hell was going to happen. If we're going to do shows again, or people are going to be around each other.
Yeah, I mean, it's been 3 years, so I would hope so.
Yeah, I get it, but it was a long process going through there. I mean, it's cool. I mean, I don't know. I still see people with masks on, so it's different.
I honestly don't even know what to make of that at this point.
Yeah, exactly. When I want to smack it out their face, I'm like, come on.
I'm like, it's your body, your choice, and it's your free will, and you do what you want to do. I guess
Right.
I don't. I won't live in fear. I'm not going to live in fear. And actually, what's crazy is I never took the shot, and I never got COVID.
Oh well.
It's it's really weird. It's like the blood of the lamb on the door. It just passed over me.
Right.
The angel of death just passed right over my house. I don't know what happened.
Me neither. I'm not a shot person at all. Don't pure blood. So it's like ballots for who's gonna get it
As
there.
they call it, it's either pure blood or it's you're a horrible fascist, anti-vaxxer murderer, and you're gonna murder grandmas. And I'm just like, all right, I
Yeah,
love you, and I wish you well, and um, my body, my choice. Love
yeah,
you. Have a
exactly.
blessed day. You know.
I mean, it goes like this. If you're gonna get it, you're gonna get it. I mean, I remember the first big show that I did after everything started to open back up is Rage Against the Machine, and we were supposed to have all kinds of masks on to do photographs and everything like that. When we got there,
Yeah.
they said, "Don't wear your mask. Everything's fine." Most of these people passed. We had took COVID test or whatever, and
Uh-huh.
that's the first time I got COVID. I was like, all
I
right,
mean,
whatever.
some people it really messed them up, and some people it didn't. And I have a lot of friends that took the medicine, and still got it, and that made me wonder a lot.
Yeah,
But anyways, it's I feel like yeah, I do feel like the world is kind of ready to move on. I think they have a little bit of fatigue on that topic, and my intention behind making this last record, and I did it during lockdown and the time after lockdown, because I spent a lot of time writing with friends in the studio. Like I knew, I was just like, this is really there's a lot of fear and constriction in the world. But I'm a woman of faith, and I kind of don't rely on the world or my understanding of what's going on. I kind of tend to pray a lot and let God guide me as best as I can, hear God's voice. And the urgency of making an album was very great. And I was like, well, I think people are going to really need music that speaks to their heart, that cancels fear, that gives them hope. So there's a few lyrics on this album that I think really are those little golden nuggets. Um, and now we're on the fourth album cycle. Scott Stevens is producing this next record. I have no idea what it's going to be called. We have like one or two songs done, which we're off to a very strong start. Um, and I'm planning to outdo myself, hopefully, because I'm a competitive person. But but yeah, I still was like, I think I need to make an album, a record, and try to make it as uplifting as possible, because people are going to eventually go back to shows. And it is the weirdest thing to go, to be having this happen in the world, but then go to play Welcome to Rockville in front of 30,000 people that are all crammed together and sweaty. And it was kind of like a huge relief because it was just like, oh my gosh, everyone here is here to celebrate life. And it was awesome. It was just like the people have spoken, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure. You know, I mean, what it is, you can never take that feeling away of going to a live show. I mean, you can replace almost everything else. They've gone ahead and let you watch movies at home. They did this, that, but
Mhm.
they tried to live stream. They'll suck. I ain't gonna lie. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. Technology, it's like really taking away a lot from human beings. Like even with AI doing the AI artwork and writing, right? It can write uh, your essay that you need to do for school. It's crazy. But you can't take AI and make a live rock show.
that's
I
it.
mean, to some extent, maybe there's a lot of programming and electronics and technology used in live shows. We tend to be more stripped back and raw, and like we don't have tracks. I don't use live auto tune. We might add some other dimensional elements into the live set with some of these you know big rock singles that we're doing, like with Scott Stevens. I might add some stuff like the drummer could trigger some stuff on the Roland SPDX pad and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's like we're just four human beings, and we plug in our instruments and we get up there and just give it everything that's in our soul. So
I mean, that's the whole fun of it too. When you go to a live show, I mean, I don't want to see you fuck up, but if you do, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? I want to see
yeah,
something go on.
it happens.
It's part of the
Oh,
game.
yeah. It really happens. Rarely, but when it's a big screw up, you kind of just, I don't know, I need to have like jokes in my back pocket. But you know, 99.99% of the time, it's pretty rad. It's a good time from start to finish. Even if there are little flubs here and there, that's the that's what happens with live rock and roll, and it doesn't matter. And my band, I feel like they're so good, and when we play together for a couple weeks, they get really tight and locked in. And then I get to relax and not worry about anything. They just play the songs and we all kind of vibe together, so it's super fun.
As far as backing tracks go, I mean, I guess when you're an older musician and your voice ain't there anymore, I mean, it's got to fuck with your head a little bit. So I kind of understand why they're using them, but it still sucks.
I feel like if that's happening, you're doing something wrong. I trained a little bit of classical voice so long ago, but I remember my teacher said, with if you can sing opera, you can sing anything. Like look at Michael Bolton, right? His
Hmm.
voice is insane. If you can sing opera, you can sing anything. And she said, if you're using the right technique and you're doing these exercises, you should be able to sing until you're 90 years old. So I feel like there's something, a health issue or a vocal cord issue. There's something going wrong if that's happening. And I understand it though, because sometimes on tour, I don't necessarily have the budget or the time to have a coach with me or zooming, on the laptop and doing lessons and all that. I kind of warm up with all the tricks that I've found that worked. But it's when you're grinding like that and you're traveling, it's hard on your body and you can get tight. Massages always really help me. I take like a bunch of self-care stuff on the road with me. uh so I get it. Like sometimes I'll start to push. And Taylor Momsen told me, don't push. I was like, thank you. I know I try not to, but sometimes, depending on the sound, the venue, every venue's different. We're working on kind of putting together a stage show production that's kind of very consistent. Like I'm investing in the gear, so it's very consistent, and hopefully that will allow me to have better vocals more consistently for a longer time. Because it can definitely vary, and we're humans, so it's a human instrument. It's not like you can just put new strings on your guitar and tune it up. And I know their fingers probably get tired, but the voice, it's your vocal cords are two little tiny little
Right, right.
muscles.
So I know you got a big show on Friday. Is that right?
So excited. Yes, we are sold out at the Troubadour in West Hollywood on Friday. And we have a special guest. I'm not supposed to say who it is. I really want to, but I've been yelled at, so I'm not supposed to say. But I will say this: his son's band. Okay, no, you know what? I can't say that either because then everyone's gonna know. Just if you can sneak in, I won't tell anybody.
Gotcha.
To the fans out there that are in the area because it's sold out. But if you can somehow sneak in, God bless you.
Well worth it then, huh?
So it's gonna be cool.
So I know you can't say who it is, but have you ever worked with that person before? And how did you get them to come to the show?
Actually, I'm about to. He reached out. I'm about to. He reached out and I did a song for charity for something else through the producer and so they said, do you want to be on this record? Would you like to do a collaboration? So of course I said yes. I was like, I'm very honored. And then it turned into, hey, do you want to come by the show? And we're actually going to be debuting the title track, which we've never played live. So please bear with us. No, we've never actually played Gifts from the Holy Ghost live other than at sound check when we've been messing around with it. It's definitely one of the more vocally acrobatic songs. So we're gonna just get into it at rehearsal. But I'm very excited to finally play the song, which is the title track that we've never done for everybody. So I hope they love it.
That's awesome. Now this album here definitely has some staying power. I mean, you're doing the 1 year anniversary, and
Yeah.
that has a lot to say considering that the fact that people are so fickle these days. I mean, they're good for one thing, and then 2 weeks later, what the fuck was that?
Well, I hope so. I think the slow build in the long run is so much more of a payoff than being like a flash in the pan pop sensation. And I think it always comes back to writing good songs and then, really connecting with the fan base. So we love our Black Sheep gang so much that we made a beanie for you. And I hope so. I was hoping there was enough singles on this record to last 2 years that we could tour on it for 2 years. But the more we toured, which was great, we did a headlining tour last year. We hopped on the road with Dirty Honey. We were supposed to go out with Giovanni and the Hired Guns, and we weren't really able to make that happen. And I'm really bummed about that because Giovanni's so nice, and I want to just say congrats to them for their nomination at iHeart, and they were in my opinion they were the best new artist because it was so real and the guitars were just so crunchy and good and in your face, and it had it was rock but it had pop in there. It was just really well done, but it was genuine. It didn't feel canned. It didn't feel forced. You could feel his vulnerability, and it was awesome. I was really happy for them. I was like in the fourth or fifth row and right in front of them, and they were great. So but yeah, we toured a little bit last year, not a little bit, half the year, and I thought we would do some more, but as things are unfolding, I'm like ready to do this next record. The timing is right. Scott Stevens and the Four Horsemen are amazing. I definitely am so excited that Scott's on board with this, and I think it's just going to build on what we've been doing. It's going to just deliver more great songs to people.
Now, I see you got a handful of gigs throughout the year, and you're saying you're doing this album. How do you balance everything out from picking the shows and being able to do the album?
Oh, I have learned that for me, I can't have any distractions. I can't make, a man my higher power. I have to stay sober. I have to stay focused, and I have to really do a lot of self-care and really keep a positive mindset. So for me, it's like a lot of faith, a lot of prayer, a lot of self-care, being active, exercise, a good diet, and lots of sleep. And because there's a lot of travel involved. So yeah, we'll be bouncing around a lot this spring. And some, I think in the summertime, I'll start really diving into these songs with Scott for the next record.
Now, you said you have 2 tracks completed for this upcoming album. Do you plan on playing any of those at these handful of live shows that you got coming up?
Actually, Not yet. Actually, I think we have our first radio single. It's called Pray on Me, and it's about a pretty heavy topic, but the song makes you want to rock, and it makes you really like, I think it makes you just want to like lift weights, run, punch the wall. I don't know. But I wrote it about it's really dedicated to anyone who's been raped or been a sexual assault survivor, or anything like that, and has survived that trauma. And it's about kind of overcoming that. Unfortunately, that's part of my story, but I think God works all things together for the good. So you go through this stuff, but then I was like, okay, how I respond to this is I have to learn how to really forgive this person. There's a couple of them actually. I have to learn how to forgive them, and that's not easy. Because you would think, how could you forgive something like that? No, don't you want to carry that hate around? Well, you're only like drinking poison. You're only hurting yourself when you do that. So I channeled it into, I talked about it with Scott, channeled it into this song. And I really want to come out swinging on this next record. And I think that even though it's a dark, heavy topic, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So I'm very excited. We won't be playing it yet, but I feel like it will be on the radio quite possibly after Black Sheep has had its heyday.
Now, when you go ahead and make a song like that and it has personal meaning to you, does it bring back some of those memories? I mean, does that bring a stir of emotion for you?
Well, that depends on if I've done, the work of healing and recovering and therapy and whatever's necessary to heal from something like that and forgive. And you have to give yourself permission to go through the grieving process, to feel the emotions that are confusing and hard and painful, and be patient with yourself. And it takes time. And trauma is stored in the body. That's a really important thing to know. And but if you can overcome that and forgive, you just become a much more, I mean, you can choose darkness or light. You can go down that path, or you can choose to forgive and become wiser and more compassionate, and really understand, like, you never know what someone else is going through. You
Right.
just don't know what's going on in their day. If they're a dick to you, you don't know what they just went through.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they got cheated on Valentine's Day. Maybe they fell in love with a narcissist that totally destroyed their soul. Maybe they just went through a divorce or lost their job. You just don't know. And so that kind of stuff, when pain is like a really great catalyst for change, and it can make you a much more compassionate, empathetic, wise person. And so honestly, I don't know if I would have changed my journey at all. I think there's a purpose for all of it. And so now I have this great song, and I'm so excited to put it out. And I just want to give it to people that have been through that, so that they know, they're not alone. And look, if I can get through this and be up here doing this song for you, there's something you can do with your pain. There's a purpose for it. So I'm just can't wait to put it out. But it's going to be a little bit. We got to let Black Sheep have it's at number 9 on Billboard right now. So
Right, yeah. I'm very excited for this new track talking about this, because not only is it a healing process for you to go ahead and get that out, but like, there's so many times when people hear a song and it connects with them on an emotional level that actually helps them in a way.
Yeah, those are the best songs. That's like the purpose. I think the purpose of music is to heal, and I mean, there's so many different good purposes for music, actually, but that's one of them.
Now back to Black Sheep, man. What are you, 2.8 million views so far on YouTube, something like that, right?
Am I haven't looked. Maybe. I hope so. I haven't looked. That's definitely one of my favorite videos, because I love mixed martial arts and boxing and Muay Thai. And so we shot it in a boxing gym, and I got in the ring, and I just put on that jacket, and I felt like Wonder Woman, and I was like, hell yeah, this is awesome. So it was a really fun video to do.
Yeah, it was an awesome video. Now, when you're working on the bag, did you put powder in your gloves? Did you put powder in the bag to make it that dusty?
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, cinema movie magic here. Nick Peterson, the director, had a little water bottle
Okay.
that he was spraying. Here's the camera, and here's Nick hiding next to the camera, spraying a little bottle of water to put the mist into the air, and it gave it this nice effect. Maybe I'm not supposed to tell his movie secrets. I'm sorry, Nick Peterson.
Let the cat out of the bag there, huh?
Oh, it's so funny. I'm like, you look hilarious doing that. It was cool.
Well, touching back on the point, that just shows what the staying power of this album has. I mean, a year later, and you're still, rocking in millions of views, hits.
Yeah, I don't know. Praise God. That's awesome. We're just doing our best one day at a time.
Now, is there still more singles planned off of this album to bank off of, or do you have anything else going?
I mean, I really did want to put out Gifts from the Holy Ghost as a single, but I'm also just so obsessed with this new song, and you know what, it follows the lineage really nicely. So the sound and the production and the theme of Rest in Peace, then Black Sheep, then Pray on Me, like, would be the perfect trio. So I think maybe it might be a smarter move just to put that out. And I would definitely want it to go on the next album as well. So it's like, put it out while we're writing the new stuff, while we're playing some shows, and keep fans. We want to keep giving them music. It's not good to go away for too long.
Now, with the title of this album, that has a deep meaning to you too. Is that right? There was an issue with your guitar tech, and
Well, those two things are kind of related. Yeah, I named it Gifts from the Holy Ghost because when I was in Brooklyn, I was starting the record. I was working with some people. I was staying there, and I woke up in the hotel, and like, that's the first thing that popped into my head, and I was like, and I didn't know what it even meant at the time. Now I do, but it just popped into my head, and I go, that sounds like the album title. So I wrote it down, and then I popped it into a demo we had written that I really loved the guitar riff that Eli Wolfmeyer had written. We did it on tour at Soundcheck when we were out with Greta Van Fleet, and I had written these verses, but the chorus was never done. So I put the phrase in there, and I was like, that's what this song is about. I get it now. So we completed the song. Unfortunately, we did it during all the COVID crazy stuff, and Chris Lord-Alge did an excellent job. But what I really, really wanted was a massive live choir, like, Madonna's Like a Prayer, or, just a big, awesome choir in the background. But we were able to kind of make it happen with studio magic. So
now you're signed to Roc Nation. You're one of the handful of rock acts that are on that label. How did you initially get signed with them?
So yeah, I don't even know. It was like one little thing led to another. I found, I was just reaching out to people that were music industry contacts. To Honestly, it was such a low point in my life. I didn't know what I wanted to do with myself. Well, I didn't think, I was like, I don't know if this is even possible, but I had lost a lot, and I was like, okay, well, what more do I have to lose? I'm gonna go try to make it as a singer and songwriter. And then the people that I got in touch with, new people at Roc Nation, and Jay Brown offered me a publishing deal and a record deal, and wanted me to write for Rihanna. And then the producers that the manager that I got set up with at the time, that I reached out to, knew some producers, and one of them really liked Black Sabbath, and so did I. So we were like, okay, this is a rock band, and he was our first guitar player officially. So we started writing Rock is Dead, and it was very guerrilla style, like low budget, garagey. Especially some of the earlier videos, like, it was just a guy with a camera and a light in a weird room. But yeah, here we are now. So it's taken about, how long have we been a band? At least 8 years, at least 8 or 9 years, maybe 8.5.
So when you're one of the top rock acts on a hip hop label, something goes wrong, do you just give Jay-Z a call and tell him to get to the bottom of that shit?
I don't have Jay-Z's number, no.
Well, that's not one of the perks, huh?
I'm sure if I wanted to get in touch with him, they would make it happen at some point, but I can't just call him up and be like, what's up, Jay? Although he did give me crap for wearing yellow at the at the first Grammy brunch I went to. He was like, no one told you that you were supposed to wear burgundy, because him and P. Diddy were matching. I was like, oh, you guys look so cute. So He's a funny guy.
You know, I was reading your Wikipedia page there, and it says that
Incorrect.
when everyone gives you a joke about the Wizard of Oz, you have a signature response of "Go fuck yourself."
I mean, I don't think half the stuff on Wikipedia is correct. I know my age is wrong. There might be some other misinformation in there, fake news. When people make that joke, I just kind of smile and laugh and think in my head, like, if I had a nickel for every time I've heard that, I'd start my own label.
So the "Go fuck yourself" is probably basically right, even if it's not out loud; it's in your mind.
I mean, I try not to say mean things.
Now, for those that are watching, they want to follow up. They want to know more about upcoming albums. They want to get a tickets to a concert, things like that. Where do they go? What do they do for everything?
I mean, yeah, you can just go to dorothyonfire.com. We always post the tour dates and upcoming events, and there's a merch store. You can have access to all our social media pages on there. And then I'm just at Dorothy on Instagram. I usually mostly post cat memes and videos, but sometimes I'll just post, flyers to festivals and things that we're doing. So you can follow me on there. And yeah, we're just doing the Troubadour on Friday. I'm stoked. I'm so excited. So I'm looking forward to that. And then we'll see you this spring all over the United States.
Now, with this Troubadour show, is there any chance of any of it being recorded? I mean, because now my mind's
Yeah.
spinning of who this is going. The surprise guest. I gotta figure out who it's going to be.
Yeah, we're definitely planning on it. However, uh we have to see how it goes, and then what kind of edit we can put together, and hopefully we'll have a really cool live performance of something for you guys.
Awesome. All right, it was a
Yeah.
pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you so much.
You go ahead and take care of yourself.
Bye.